All right, everyone, welcome to today's Awareness Wednesday, a fundraising discussion with Amy Britton, Dr. Amy Britton, new Dr. Amy Britton, and Candice Gayl. I see that your microphone is not working. That's fine. Just you are welcome to text your questions in the chat as they arise. So those of you who are here, Amy and Candice are going to lead a fundraising discussion for us. As you think of questions, you are welcome to ask them or pop them in the chat, and we will go ahead and get started. So Amy and Candice, would y'all just introduce yourselves for our group, please?
Hi, everyone. I'm Candice Gayl. I'm coming at you from Washington, D.C. I am a consultant that works in the nonprofit arena, primarily with education-related organizations. I've been working in development for about 15 or so years now, and got my start in a school and then just kind of expanded from there. So I've worked with organizations of all shapes and sizes, and typically like to engage with organizations that are ready for growth and change, and kind of help them with capacity building and related activities to grow and evolve their organization to meet their goals and serve their communities and missions more effectively. Over to you, Amy.
Thanks for that handoff, Candice. My name is Dr. Amy Britton. I'm so excited to be here today to hopefully inspire you guys in your work and your efforts to raise important dollars for your different missions. I have worked in kind of across the board range of nonprofits, from a single person and a startup shop to currently I'm a professional fundraiser for Michigan State University. I also do some organizational development work, advising on the side as well. And that's really how I've gotten to know Taylor quite well. We've partnered on several different initiatives, and she's such a good resource for many of the nonprofits in our community, and just really honored to be a guest here today. And feel free to pick my brain however makes sense for you. I'll share some tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way, and hoping this is kind of a dynamic conversation.
First question to get us started today, Amy and Candice. One of the big things going on in our area is North Texas Giving Day. The official day is September 23rd, and this is a big local day where I think there's over 3,500 nonprofits participating this year. But we are all pitching our organizations and hoping to get donations from individuals. I know some have match funds, and if you participate, there are some sort of, community match funds available to optimize those dollars. It's a similar idea to Giving Tuesday if you want to think on the national scale. So what are some things that organizations can do to stand out on these big giving days?
I'm gonna let Amy start since this is a Texas thing.
Thanks, Candice. So I thought what I would do is pop up an example to kind of guide some idea generation, and you guys feel free to, I don't want to railroad your meeting, Taylor, but hopefully if there's questions, you guys just pop in and feel free to interject as needed. I guess it might be helpful to know, how active are you guys in giving North Texas Giving Day? Have you done it before? Maybe just pop into chat some of your experiences with running a giving day. I'm not sure what your personal experiences are yet. Let me it's kind of hard to monitor the chat and share at the same time, but I know when I've been in a small shop, there's always this this wondering of, is this a good use of my time? There's big agencies out there that perform really well on Giving Day, and is the return really worth it? And one thing I kind of challenge your thinking, I think so often we measure success on Giving Day on the dollars alone. And I think, I'd like to challenge your thinking a little bit to think about kind of the strategic impacts to your organization in terms of donor prospecting, brand awareness, volunteer engagement. All of these things are really tangible impacts in addition to that big number of the dollars raised. And so MSU is, kind of over-resourced in terms of the living alumni network that we have. So don't compare yourself to this, but my hope in sharing this is not to intimidate you, but to inspire you. And maybe there are some good things that you can take away from some of the examples we'll see here today. And so we have something similar to North Texas Giving Day. It's Give Green Day. And we participated in Giving Tuesday at 1 year and realized quickly that there was so much competition with local nonprofits that we wanted to establish our own. And so we've gone with Give Green Day. And to the extent that you can, I think many nonprofits approach Give Green Day similar to the ways that they approach annual giving, and that they'll just kind of have this is our general message. These funds will support, our mission kind of in broad context. And so one thing I want to throw out there is the more you can speak to a tangible project or specific thing, maybe specific area within your missional space, and create many fundraising pages around that, you might experience a different result. So as I'm scrolling here now, you can see within MSU, of course, we have many colleges, we have alumni clubs, so many layers to the organization, but within each of these, they set up little mini campaigns, right? And so you can see here within all of our alumni clubs, scholarships across the country, of the total amount raised, 212 was generated through our alumni club volunteer base. And so my message is, right, break it down into small chunks that people can get excited about, because that gives you multiple talking points throughout the day. So my second takeaway is probably be really intentional in your communication plan. Don't just count on people to like and share. I think that's a misstep often. When we come at our Give Green Day, we have a communications plan, we have a war room, we break up the 24 hours into different leadership teams who are responsible for sharing on social media. In fact, let me pull up some of our social media examples. And this website I'll pop into chat when I'm done sharing so you guys can poke around and maybe get inspired. So each one of our units that are creating those mini fundraising campaigns have their army of volunteers. They've written these posts in advance. They've timed it throughout the day where they're promoting different challenges and pushing out content that people can readily share throughout the day as well. So lots of poking and prodding. The other tool, I know Communities Foundation provides some matching funds that incentivize the day, but if you're able to allocate any of your development budget to do challenge grants, or you can fundraise in advance, you can secure sponsors to offset some of these challenges. But we do things like student trivia challenge. There's a first gift challenge here, right? So first gift at midnight earns $250 bonus. So donors get excited to, be first out of the gate and get some momentum. There's when a unit within, we call them units, but when one of those mini campaigns reach their goal, we have a donor who stepped up and put $1,000 on the table. So those are some of the ways to generate momentum. Those are extra talking points you can push out on social media, all kinds of ways you can do a challenge 2-to-1. In fact, our organization was founded in 1855. So we asked several donors to step up and do 1855 challenge grants. So they would match every dollar up to $1,855. So you can build in your organization's transitions and really have it be exciting and inspire your donors to get engaged and have fun. And then, of course, you've got to share information out, right? That's how you get the excitement. You continue it, that momentum builds over time. And so you can do that by posting honor rolls of different people who've made gifts. A lot of that is done already through the North Texas Giving Day website and on their fundraising pages, but you can post these on your own social media within your organizations and really inspire people to get on board with making the difference within your organizations. And so finally, yeah, we had participation nationally, pretty exciting stuff, but this is really competitive, fun competition amongst our internal units and specifically our alumni clubs. So, Dallas and Houston always have that rivalry. There's a traveling trophy, whichever club outperforms. So I think the first year they raised $3,000 and then the next year they each raised $10,000, just wanting to top out. Our top alumni club fundraiser on Give Green Day raised $35,000. And their secret sauce was they had many of those pledges already locked in before the day even started. So you can have people on board, talk it up. Do you set up payment through PayPal? Candice, you might be able to speak to some resources for smaller nonprofits. Ours are all processed through our Donate Now button on our website.
And what are you using as your back end? I'm curious. That looks like a pretty slick platform.
For our website, a lot of it is, that is a great question. We have a whole team. I have the luxury of being able to focus exclusively on fundraising. There's different drop-ins. I know on the honor roll, there was down here. I'm going to make y'all sick scrolling. I'm not sharing anymore, am I?
No.
Okay, good.
While you're looking, I can just speak to a couple of points too. So not being in Texas, I'm not intimately familiar with Texas Giving Day, but when there are larger campaigns like that, as a smaller nonprofit, it's often really helpful to kind of leverage the work that goes into it, because as you saw with what Amy shared, they're a big organization. They have a lot of resources and a really slick setup that's probably out of reach for most smaller nonprofits to set up on their own, but there are typically resources and things that you can leverage. And I'm sure the same is true for the Giving Day. And I just wanted to kind of piggyback on a couple of things you mentioned, because I think it's so important. One of the things that you didn't explicitly go into, but we saw a lot of, was that there were goals. And even if you set a really small goal, maybe it's just to have 10 new gifts or X number of dollars or whatever, but a manageable goal, it gives you something to put out there and something for people to feel a part of. If you make it crazy, then it just becomes a bummer because it's ridiculous, right? And then you just feel like you can't get to it. But if you make a manageable goal, a little bit of a stretch to make it exciting, but then that gives you an excuse to reach out to people. And the Giving Day itself is also a good excuse to reach out to people. Let them know about the goal. People love to be part of something like that. I also really liked how you had the breakdown, and this is not just for special events like this, but even ongoing, if you have not just dollar amounts, but what does that dollar amount translate to? So Colleen mentioned she's with Apple Tree in DC. One of the things they have on their donate page is if you give X dollars, you know, that's equal to this book or what have you that the kids would use. So it feels personal and real for your donors. And then the recognition too is just so important. And I love how you guys had that. As far as how you process payments, there's all kinds of options out there. And it really is kind of depends on what will work best for you. I work with Apple Tree, so that's why I keep picking on them. But we actually just switched from Network for Good, which is one option, to Bloomerang. They're using Bloomerang as kind of their back-end database to manage all of their donors. And there's a payment option through them that integrates. But Razor's Edge has one. I mean, typically all of the big names out there have them. PayPal is also an option. Yeah, shout out to Bloomerang. Yeah, and Taylor just shared what they use too. So lots of options, but you definitely want something like that because people give online a lot. So you want to have something set up. And this is a good excuse to do it.
I believe with the giving, with North Texas Giving Day or Giving Tuesdays, for those to count in your fundraising page, those gifts have to be processed by the community's foundation.
Got it.
Yeah,
And
that is correct, Amy.
And that's, a decision you have to make because your donors, when they go into that cart and they're making their gift, they're asked if they want to do a tip for Communities Foundation as well.
And do they share the donor information back to the organization? I imagine yes, but
they do, but there's a little delay, and that makes stewardship really challenging, right? Because part of the way you continue, you really want to have a fantastic donor experience for those new donors. And if there's that big delay before you get your giving report, that can be not the best for a new donor.
So it does show up because we've got, well, I know for early giving, because I've been tracking what we've been getting on early giving, you can check through the Neon Raise system if you log into that dashboard. And I don't know, nobody's given anonymously yet. So I don't know if anybody gave anonymously, if that was different, but I could see the donors who have already given and the amount. So that is helping for at least for early giving.
Is that in real time, Taylor?
I haven't checked in real time. I've just popped in a couple of times.
That's a big improvement.
Sure.
The first couple of, I'm old school. I've been at this for a while. So the first couple of giving days, everything was paper based, right? There were a few electronic tools, but it's a good improvement to hear they have that going in the background. Information's huge.
I want to share a comment from Marcella. She said it's hard to determine how ongoing promotional and outreach efforts contribute to making the cause known when individuals are ready to give. Do you have any advice for that?
Well, I think there's ways to measure that. And just as you would any kind of media campaign, you measure clicks and transfer and impressions and things like that. But as far as impact on the mission, I froze. Did you guys, can you hear me?
I've got you now.
Okay. So yeah, I think you must be intentional in your communication strategy and the way you're measuring those metrics. And that's also what inspires people to continue volunteering with your organization, when you can celebrate those successes and those wins. So like Candice said earlier, with setting, attainable goals, if you're if your hope is to inspire people to share your content, that's a very, natural grassroots way to get your message out there. Challenge them, try to get 50 likes or share this 10 times, give your volunteers a tangible goal that they can keep in their mind so that they know they're being, diligent in their effort, and they can celebrate that success through their volunteerism as well. Any thoughts, Candice, on that?
I was just thinking, it's hard when you're a small organization and you're doing so many things and you've got limited resources, and it's hard to know if it's worth it. I can just say that with something like this, when there's a lot of noise around it, it's really something that you can leverage and take advantage of, because you have all of these other people out there making a splash about this event. It really is worth it, I think, to kind of take advantage and throw your hat in the ring. If you don't have, a formal comms team, especially in all of that, why not, take advantage and leverage all of that work and outreach that's taking place. And I find too that for your supporters, they're looking to see, they hear it's happening, this event's going on, and they're hearing stuff about it, and they're kind of, they'll notice, if you're taking advantage of that. And if you're saying, hey, don't forget about us, we're here, we want to be part of this. So I think it's worth doing, and just being, strategic about kind of throwing your hat in the ring in a way that doesn't bury you, but lets you leverage what's already taking place so that you can take advantage of it.
So another comment from Marcella, she does feel like Giving Day, and I think this would apply to other specialized campaigns as well, helps to promote the cause with donors that you don't normally have access to. And so I can say that as an organization that's new to doing this, I really didn't know where to start. I was like, well, I'm just going to stick our stuff out there and see how this goes, assuming that most of our donations are going to come from the people that have already donated to us. What advice do both of you have for appealing to this wider reach on an event like this than you might normally have?
I think that point is exactly why it's so important to have your volunteers on social media sharing the messaging, because that's where you reach new contacts and new prospective donors. And not every donor will bubble up that day, but when your volunteer base are sharing their passion and commitment to your organization, that inspires other people, and it just kind of reinforces the communications messaging that you're putting out there. So I think sharing on social media is the best way to get new donors. I don't know very many people that I've known a few. They'll say, okay, I'm going to give to 10 organizations, and then they'll scroll through and read some of and they're kind of agnostic when they approach the website to make the gift, but those are rare. Those are unicorns. It's really up to each of you to, kind of grassroots, inspire others. We actually do a lot of email campaigns around our Giving Day, and we see very positive results as far as open rates, a 25% open rate on the messages, but 0.6% conversion rate. So how you leverage your email list, your social media, all of that can influence it.
And I'll just tack on a thought, all of you have amazing, compelling stories about the work that you're doing. So pick your best ones and touch on them simply and succinctly. If you have pictures, again, Apple Tree, they work with early childhood. So they have 3 and 4-year-olds. Oh, those pictures are so cute. Get your best quick and easy stuff out there that's the most compelling, because you're now reaching this whole new audience, and it's your chance to hook them. So it's not the time to go into the weeds with really long, even if there might be really important stories. This is the time for like quick, simple, easy ways that people can get hooked and engaged. It's an entry point.
I think I saw a note earlier about the campaigns need to be unrestricted. And so there's, you can raise unrestricted dollars and still highlight and promote your programs within your organization. So I think oftentimes we speak really broadly about the organization, and when your messaging is at that high level, you lose those great compelling stories Candice was talking about, right? So if you're able to connect, a solid impact to a specific program or service, a transformational moment in a short amount of time, short amount of words in social media, then that's really the magic sauce for getting it to resonate with people.
So something that is part of Giving Day that is also popular outside of that is peer-to-peer fundraising. And so we see it on Giving Day with the fundraisers, right? So what advice do you have with, there was a comment too about getting board members to start sharing these things out. And like we have a nonprofit coffee club. Like, how do we encourage our current supporters, volunteers, followers, board members, interns, whoever else to share on our behalf? I think especially when a lot of us are close to or part of or representing other organizations that have missions that are just as compelling to support.
Well, I would say it shouldn't be a hard sell for board members. It should be kind of expected. I mean, there's two, that's the carrot or the stick, right? So is it, do you want all of your employees to create fundraiser pages and share that amongst their social circles? I don't know. I don't know if you can require that administratively, but you can certainly incentivize it, and you can do fun things in the office to inspire people to do that. But I would think with your board, having it be easy, the staff can help them set up their own pages, have a work day where they can come in, have a little party in the boardroom and have staff available there to help them troubleshoot if it's a technology issue. I guess I would say dig into the hesitancy and try to address those needs. But they should be on board if they're committing their service and their resources. This is just one more way for them to give back to the organization.
Agreed. A couple thoughts too. You will definitely have people that aren't excited about doing anything on social media. And I actually say that as one of them. So I'm on a board here in DC for an organization that does a lot with after school youth programs and sports. And that is not the way that I support them, because that's just not my thing. I'm not really on social media, but they've worked with me and I have worked with them on other ways that I can support them. So if you have people on your board or in your networks that's just not their deal, but they're willing to do other stuff, that's okay. Not everybody's gonna latch on to that. It's awesome when it works and when people do move forward with it. It's an amazing way to exponentially increase your reach, but it won't be for everyone. So that's kind of my first point, is to meet people where they are and be creative, be willing to be creative about other ways that they might be able to support. The other thing that I'll say, just to your point, Taylor, about multiple passions, right? That's, obviously we all have multiple interests, and I don't think anybody expects that as a person we'll only support one organization. It's okay to have multiple interests. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think we have to feel weird about that. And I don't think we need to feel weird about asking people to put it out there that they support us, even if they support this other group. So, you know, I think of fundraising really almost like matchmaking, and there's a match out there for every organization. And maybe my passion for Apple Tree is a match for some of my friends, but maybe my passion for Beacon House, the after school organization, is a match for some of my other friends. And so I share it out there with everyone, not on social media, but in other ways, right? I share it out there with everyone. And then the folks that it resonates with, and it's not right or wrong. But I put it out there because I think it's great. And I'm excited for whoever wants to join me in supporting that group.
I think it's a great point, Candice, about social media. And you're absolutely right that some people aren't even on different platforms, right? And so I believe in the Communities Foundation Toolkit. There's email signature samples you can include, so board members can still leverage their social network through email, through those kinds of methods as well. But the point is, they should understand that there's a responsibility there to promote the organization when there's events like this. That's part of the responsibility of being on the board.
Thank you both for that input. Before we move on to other topics, yes, Star, I agree. The toolkit is amazing. I use the toolkit all the time. So those of you participating, it's northtexasgivingday.org/resources. If you haven't popped in there, there's graphics, there's email copy, there's, 10 reasons you should participate. There's all kinds of good stuff in there for the resources if you haven't been in there yet. So hop on over, plug for the resources. Thanks for tuning in to our North Texas Giving Day fundraising discussion, and we will see you for part 2.